Van D, a dynamic leader with decades of experience building companies and crushing sales. He's been there and done that.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Van D.
Inspiring audiences across the country to do it too. Here's Van.
Welcome to the Van D podcast today. I'm very grateful for you to be here. You know, this is probably the most special podcast I've done because I'm dedicating this to a real estate legend named Ralph Marasco. Ralph has been a friend of mine and a competitor since 1993, ladies and gentlemen. Ralph passed away last month from the virus, from the pandemic. Actually, one of the first people in the state of Nebraska to pass from this. And I wanted to dedicate this podcast because my podcast is titled The Power of Prayer, and you will see how this ties in to the legendary Ralph Marasco. Like I said, Ralph and I have been friends since 1993. Now, we weren't running buddies. We didn't go out partying together. We didn't socialize, but we had this wicked mutual respect for each other. This goes back to the day, 1993, where Ralph and I, we'd be doing 15, 20 million plus in real estate sales without teams. We were lucky if we had an assistant. That's how hard we both worked. And we both really appreciated each other for our abilities. Ralph was one of the only people to ever call me and use my middle name. He didn't say, "Hey, Van." He always said, "Hey, Van Carl." I always got a kick out of it. And I want to just share a couple of quick memories before I get into the power of prayer. But let me just tell you the kind of character and quality human being that Ralph Marasco is. It was a big accomplishment for me to buy my own office building. You know, I started my real estate business out of my garage, grew it to a very large company, independent real estate firm, and I bought my first building. And it was pretty exciting, you know, to have a great building. And who comes over to my building shortly after I moved in? But Ralph Marasco with one of these oversized bottles of Dom Perignon, which was probably a $500 bottle. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this was a competitor of mine, but it just goes to show you the type of person Ralph is. He really touched a lot of people's lives. He was a great father to a great man named Nico Marasco, who is just the kind of kid that everybody would like to have as their son. He's just a good human being, and Nico has great parents to learn from. But you know, this has been heavy on my heart when Ralph passed, because when Ralph had his heart attacks years ago, I was in his hospital room basically lecturing him on why he needs to stay in shape and all the future he has in front of him, and, you know, and all the real estate that he needs to keep selling. And I felt the need to give him that lecture because I felt so strongly about him. I remember leaving the hospital years ago after he had his heart attack, and I broke down because here I saw a guy that I admired. I admired so much. I remember breaking down all the way to my car when I left that hospital room. Ralph also recently was my neighbor. He lived like 6 houses away. So like I said, I want to dedicate this podcast to all of our friend and great person, Ralph Marasco, real estate legend, and I don't say that lightly, real estate legend. So now I want to talk to you how this ties into the power of prayer. Ralph and a gentleman named Og Mandino have a lot in common. You know why? Og Mandino was recognized as one of the greatest salesmen ever in the history of our world. Matter of fact, he has a book titled that. Og Mandino, recognized as one of the greatest salesmen ever. I learned about him back in 1983 when I started my real estate career. And one thing that stood out to me was this salesman's prayer that Og Mandino had. And I want to tell you something. This is not a religious show, but I also have to be straight up and honest with you. I am the biggest fan of praying. I believe in the power of prayer. Everything in my career, I will say it's because I prayed about it. I didn't pray for material things, but I would pray every day for God to give me the ability to recognize opportunities, God to give me the work ethic, the ability to treat people well, to do the best I can. I can't go on forever to tell you about the benefits of the power of prayer, but some of the things that the power of prayer has helped me accomplish in my career is I've written 5 books. I prayed about them. I've gotten dozens and dozens of awards for selling real estate on a national level. I prayed about that. I built a company out of my basement with hardly any money and grew it to one of the largest independent real estate firms in the Midwest. And I sold it 16 years later for 7 figures. I prayed about that. I've been helping thousands of salespeople accomplish their goals and helping real estate people build wealth. I prayed about that. So my prayers aren't just kneeling down at night before you go to bed. I pray throughout the day. I always pray when I wake up. Thank you, God, for giving me the ability to wake up today. So prayers can happen anytime. They can happen wherever you're at a stoplight. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying all these things to impress you. I'm saying these things to impress upon you that the power of prayer is real. It's real and it works. You know why? I believe God can see and hear my passion. He can see and hear my determination and my desire to be successful. God knows my work ethic is off the charts, and He sees how I treat people. I believe that this all has a correlation. So let me tell you something. In 1983, when I first learned about Og Mandino, and now I relate that to Ralph Marasco. I think they're two of the same people. Ralph, one of the greatest real estate salesmen I've ever met in my entire life. And Og Mandino recognized as the greatest salesman ever. So let me tell you the power of prayer. So in 1983, Og Mandino has this prayer that he says every day. And I'm going to share this with you. And I hope that you listen and re-listen and re-listen and re-listen to this podcast and share it with people that you love. Ladies and gentlemen, this works. This will shape your future. So here it goes to read you the Salesman's Prayer by Og Mandino. O Creator of all things, help me. For this day I go out into the world naked and alone. And without your hand to guide me, I will wander far from the path which leads me to success and happiness. I ask not for gold or garments or even opportunities equal to my ability. Instead, guide me so that I may acquire ability equal to my opportunities. You have taught the lion and the eagle how to hunt and prosper with teeth and claw. Teach me how to hunt with words and prosper with love, so that I may be a lion among men and an eagle in the marketplace. Help me to remain humble through obstacles and failures. Yet hide not from mine eyes the prize that will come with victory. Assign me task to which others have failed. Yet guide me to pluck the seeds of success from their failures. Confront me with fears that will temper my spirit, yet endow me with courage to laugh at my misgivings. Spare me sufficient days to reach my goals, yet help me live this day as if it were my last. Bathe me in good habits, that the bad ones may drown, yet grant me compassion for the weaknesses in others. Suffer me to know that all things shall pass, yet help me to count my blessings of today. Expose me to hate, so it not be a stranger, yet fill my cup with love to turn strangers into friends. But all these things be only if thy will. I am a small and lonely grape, clutching the vine, yet thou hast made me different from all others. Verily, there must be a special place for me. Guide me, help me, show me the way, Lord. Let me become all you planned for me when my seed was planted and selected by you to sprout in the vineyard of the world. Help this humble salesman. Guide me, God. Ladies and gentlemen, really dissect that prayer by Og Mandino. It covers everything that every business person, every salesman wants to accomplish. This prayer has had meaning to me for over 37 years. It is taped up in my room so I will not forget the power of the salesman's prayer. And now my heart is full of happiness because now I relate this prayer to Ralph Marasco. I'm not just saying this because we're all in mourning from him passing recently. I'm saying this because Ralph Marasco was truly a real estate legend. All of us wanted to sell as much real estate as Ralph. But here's the cool thing. You would never know that he was the best of the best of the best because he wouldn't tell you. Even when I'd see him at lunch, one of my favorite things to do over the many, many years, I would always point out to whoever I'm with. I used to see him at a restaurant in Omaha, Nebraska, nonstop. We always would seem to go at the same time. We both have a good friend in common named John Waniger, and for some reason we were all there having lunch a lot at the same time. But every time I'd see Ralph, I'd always say, ladies and gentlemen, there's the greatest real estate salesperson in Omaha. And he would just, he'd smile and he'd be so humble and he'd say, bless you for saying that, or something silly. So I want to use this opportunity. If you think somebody's really good at what they do, tell them. You know how good it makes me feel that I told Ralph Marasco for probably 20 years, every time I'd see him, you're the best of the best of the best. It made me feel good because in my heart, I really felt that way. I'm a competitive guy. I love real estate. I don't want anybody to compete with me. But when I see people that do and surpass me, I want to let them know. Use this today. The next time you see somebody that's really, really good at what they do for a living, go tell them. I'm sure there's lots of people out there that would have liked to tell Ralph how much they admire him and how great they thought he was at selling real estate. You still have an opportunity to do that with people that are still living on this earth. So, the power of prayer, ladies and gentlemen, I can't begin to tell you how that's played a gigantic role in my life. You create your own prayers. There's no one size fits all. If you like the Salesman's Prayer by Og Mandino, maybe you read it and maybe you make it your own and you add your own words or eliminate or something that fits you. The power of prayer has been strong foundation of my life. So I appreciate all of you listening. Everybody say a prayer for Ralph Marasco after listening to this. I know what he's doing right now. He's probably listing the heck out of heaven. He's probably selling every available piece of land that there is in heaven. And I can visualize this. I see him in my mind as God's favorite real estate salesman. I'm being serious. I know it sounds funny, but I can picture him in heaven selling real estate. So, ladies and gentlemen, power of prayer. Be grateful. Tell people you love them. Tell people how good they are. And those of you that are in the Omaha, Nebraska area, the next time you see Nico Marasco, let him know how great and how influential and guiding and what a good person his dad is Ralph Marasco. I appreciate you tuning into my podcast today. Please subscribe, rate, or review. I want you to get all my podcasts when they come out. Once again, I want to ask all of you when you're done listening, close your eyes for a minute and say a prayer for Ralph Marasco and Nico and pray that everything, that Nico gets through all this. And I'm grateful for all of you tuning in today. God bless all of you, and subscribe, rate, and review, and be the best you can possibly be. And the power of prayer, promise you, make that part of your life. Have a great day.
A Parkville Media Production.